there, what-abouters? Welcome back to another segment of What About? So we appreciate your kindness and your understanding when the two of us, math is hard.
Super hard.
Yeah, we miscalculated how many weeks we were going to be apart and did not record the appropriate number of sessions. And so last week we did not have anything to post.
Nope, we've been apart for 6 weeks.
Isn't it crazy? I know. Vacation, youth gathering, yeah, it's been
Crazy.
It's been a 6 weeks, man.
Yes.
But we are back together.
Yay!
We are with you.
Yay.
We are talking about the church and the service and the word, and here we are. So let's get ready.
Lots of good things. So we wrapped up. First of all, we are very excited to see how many of you were taking the books that we were referencing.
Good job.
That is one of our favorite methods for when we talk about the worship service, especially to like confirmation or middle school youth and high school youth. We love giving that book to new members. It just so beautifully describes the divine service. Now, in our hymnals, there are 5 divine services.
Yeah.
We will not be going into that much detail.
Just
about
one.
all of them.
One was the only
Yes.
one that got that treatment so that we
Yes.
knew the different parts of the service.
Basically, Divine Service 2 through 5 are extremely similar to Divine Service 1. You have a little bit different hymnody. You have a little bit different of a layout. You have a little bit different of wording in some things. But overall, the structure and the things that we pointed out within Divine Service 1 are similar throughout.
Some you can sing, some you can't, but we try anyway.
I can't sing any of them.
So good.
But I still make a joyful noise.
Yes, you do. So if you have a hymnal, right now you're going to want to turn to page 219 because that is where we are going to kick off today's next segment.
Yeah, so after moving through the divine services, we are looking at the other services that are included in our hymnal for corporate worship, which is just all of us gathered together type of worship.
So we see that on page 219 we start with Matins. Matins, what does that mean? Matins and Vespers are right next to each other in the hymnal. Matins, historically speaking, and this, my friends, was fact-checked with the greatest mind here on earth, okay? So this is coming to you like just off the phone with them. This is how it goes. Historically speaking, this is what like the monks in the monastery would have gotten up right away, first thing, before the sunrise.
Why? I don't know.
That was their day. Before the sunrise, they would have gotten dressed and headed to church, and this is a service that they would have done. Matins would have been the very first thing in the morning before the sun was up. No.
Crazy folks. But we do still use it as a morning worship service.
So the Lutherans kind of like lessened it just a little bit, and now it's like anywhere between 6 a.m. and noon is when we can do this service.
And you can remember that it's Matins, morning. Now, Vespers then is something that historically was used immediately before bed, but we can use it in the evening. So here at Blessed Savior, Matins we use for our 8 and 10:30 worship services, and Vespers we've used as our Thursday night worship service before.
So yes, so even though we're not up before, the sunrise, it's still a good service to use, and then Vespers is obviously the nighttime service that we want to.
Yeah, and then
But
following
I think
those, we have a couple more services that are specific to the time of day. So there's morning prayer and evening prayer. You're going to see a lot of the same components from Matins and Vespers included in these. Again, historically, these were just a little bit different, generic time of day. So this would have been a service for any time in the morning where Matins was before the sun came up type of thing.
And if you went to a Concordia, or if you ever stepped foot on a Concordia or a seminary camp,
Any sort of synod gathering.
you will be able to experience this because you will literally be in worship the entire time. I mean, it was always offered. So this is kind of a neat tool to have. You could always be in worship.
Yeah, and so then following morning and evening prayer, we have the service of Compline, which is another evening type of service for at the close of the day. It's a more pensive type of service. You assemble in silence and you do some of the different readings for throughout the day. There's some prayers. It's not quite as filled with chanting as evening prayer is. It's slightly more spoken, but it's just another opportunity for worship at the end of the day to prepare you for restful slumber and then to get ready for the day ahead.
So if it's not obvious to you that you should start your day and end your day in the Word or in devotion, make sure you pick up a hymnal and start going through it, because it's all right there for you.
And then the last order of worship that's in here for corporate worship is the service of prayer and preaching. And this is one that we have also used here before at Blessed Savior. It's been a while, but we've used this one before. This one is neat because it has a lot of catechism components. So it's a really nice reminder of your confirmation, of the things that you've been taught, and the beliefs that we hold as Lutherans.
Yeah, you can cover the 10 Commandments, the Creed, the Lord's Prayer, all of it in just
All
this one
6
service.
chief parts show up at some point in time. Following that, then, we get into a couple things, or a few things that are used when the need arises.
Yep, occasionally.
Occasionally. So at page 268, then, we see the order for holy baptism that we use. So if we have a baptism, pastor will direct us to these pages to follow along with that worship service, or that part of the worship service. Following that's confirmation. So when we have Confirmation Sunday, this is where it comes from, the things that the confirmants say. And then we've got marriage and funerals in there too. So all of this again goes to show that when this gets planned out, it is not done without a purpose. It is something that has been done for many years, very treasured by people of all ages, and just right here, ready for us.
And it's something that you can just pick up and be familiar with. It's not written each and every time something new comes up. So it's not every baptism do we have a new type of service. Right. Everything is right here. So even if there's so many of them, you could actually memorize this. So even if you didn't have the hymnal with you, you could pretty much quote or say the services so that you can just have them from memory. So.
Which I know we've talked about with some of the other services. It's really nice to be able to walk into a Lutheran church anywhere and know what to expect and what you can do and how it's going to go.
Yeah. All right, so now that we are through the rest of the services and some of the rites, and then obviously the wedding and funeral type of things, we are up next to more of a personal type of worship. So that's where we're going to pick up next week. What we've talked up to now has been more of the corporate type of things where we can get into a church and we can worship on a Sunday or a Thursday and worship all together. But this book is also a really good home devotional tool. And next week, that's where we'll pick up and we can see that we will start with responsive prayer and some of those other offerings that are in this wonderful resource that we have. So we will see you next time, What Abouters.
Have a great day.